Hello, amazing artists. Let's glue our fruit onto our fruit wreath. So we have everything cut out and we need to find our glue stick and the first thing we're going to glue, our grapes. We are going to assemble our fruit wreath so that it is filled and piled full of beautiful fruits and leaves. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is uncap your glue stick and use the bottom to twist just enough so that you see some glue come out the top, but not too much. We don't want it to be real long or we could actually break it off and we won't be able to use it anymore. Let's take our grapes, and we worked very hard to put a highlight on them and cut them out nicely. So we're going to arrange them so all the white highlights are facing the same direction everywhere on our grapes. Let's start by turning one over, put some glue on the back, and just find a nice spot to glue this one on the side over here. We're gonna put the highlight on this side. There's a reason I did the highlight on this side, and it's because when I glue the next one in a minute, that way this grape doesn't cover that up. If I had glued it like this, and then I go to put my next one on, watch what happens. It covers up the highlight. So that's why it's important to pay attention to where this is on what side of the grape. If you'd like to do this kind of quickly, you can turn over just a few grapes, put glue on them, and we'll do a few at a time. You can always pause if you want to catch up, or you can just watch first. I'm gonna put my next one next to it, but it doesn't cross its line past the middle of this grape. I don't want to cover it up like this, and I don't want it to be like this. I want this to look like a real bunch. When grapes come from the store, they come as a bunch. So I'm gonna put on my next one. I put glue on 4 of them, and then I could put one more right here if I wanted to. Let's do 4. It'll be fun, and it can even come down a little bit. They don't have to all be lined up perfectly. Now I'm going to do a row of 3 grapes. So I'm going to put the first one at the bottom of these, but still on the wreath. It can be going off the wreath. This is your project. So think about how you want this to look and work. And there's no right or wrong way to arrange your grapes. You can lay them out any way you want, but I suggest keeping them together in a clump or bunch, because that way they don't get covered up by bigger fruit later if you just glued them everywhere. I like mine to look like the ones that I see at the store. Okay. And this last one is kind of covering that up a little bit, but that's okay. I just need it to stay on the wreath and not go off. So now I've got my grapes on my wreath. So you can pause here if you need to catch up. The next thing I'm going to do is put a couple of my leaves at the top of my grapes. And this is just my personal choice. You do not have to do this. It's just my way of putting my leaves on. And since these are still kind of wet with glue, I can lift them up and put my leaves a little bit underneath them like this. So if my leaf is going to go off of my wreath, it doesn't make sense to put glue on the back of that. Instead, I decide where I want my leaf to go and put glue there, And then I'm going to tuck my leaf into my grapes. You have to kind of play around with it a little bit. Decide what you want to do. Where do I want this one to go? Maybe right behind it? I just took it and I stuck it back there and it's already kind of staying there. So I'm just going to peel it up and put glue where I know it's going to lay down and then press it down right there. All right, I've got my grapes. Now it's a very good chance later something's going to cover up some of that leaf. That's okay. Even part of my grape might get a little covered up. That's okay too. So finish your grapes, and then the next thing we're going to do are the bananas. So when you're ready, grab your bananas. Here we go, and we're going to glue those on next. For the bananas, we're going to put one on one side of the wreath and the other on the other side of the wreath. You don't have to make them look like bookends like this. You could go this way, you could go this way. You just might want to avoid putting them right next to each other so that you have a nice artistic balance of yellow around your wreath going different ways. Okay, I can make one upside down. There's no up and down on this project. You can turn it any way. So just have fun with the idea of where you'd like them to be. I kind of like them like this right here. Maybe I'll turn this one a little this way. I can get another fruit in there later. So maybe I like it more like this in the middle. You can play around and decide what you like. Okay, I'm actually putting mine a little off the wreath. That way I can fit some more things in here later. So I'm going to take my banana. I can see where it is laying on the wreath underneath. And I can also see that the back right here is hanging off, so I don't want to put glue on the back of this. I'm just going to put some glue in a banana shape on my wreath right there. Stick it on. It is overlapping the leaf a little bit, so if I want to be careful with my work and make sure that it really stays together, I can put a little bit on that. I'm going to do the other side. This one hangs off the side a little more, so I'll just put it on there like that. If I feel like I missed a spot, I can lift it up and hit those places I missed. Okay, the bananas are done. Go ahead and catch up, and then the next thing that we are going to do is going to be our pears. All right, for the pears, we are just going to put one on one side of the wreath and one on another side of the wreath. Where do you want your pears to go? Go ahead and lay them somewhere and think about where they might look good. I'm gonna put one of my pears here. I'm gonna put another pear maybe over here, maybe like this. Okay, that's how I'm going to do my pears. Can you see how when I put this pear on, I didn't cover up my highlight right here? And I also was able to peel this up a little bit and overlap to show layering. So that's something else you can think about doing while you're working. When you are done with your pears, you're going to want to find your apples. For the apples, same thing. Think about where you think they would look pretty good. we only have a couple things left. We have oranges and maybe some extra leaves. So let's figure out where we want to put the oranges. And since I can make some adjustments while my glue is wet, I might do that. When you finish, look for some extra places you could put your leaves, and you could kind of tuck them in and put them in to places that fill in some empty space that you might have. Okay, so you should have a lot of overlapping. And now you are done with your fruit wreath. I hope you had fun making it.